computer. So there should be some little button that you press to say okay for the recording the meeting. If you don't see it, well, then maybe it's not necessary. I don't know.
Yeah, Professor, I think I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Oh, you're loud and clear.
Oh, all right, awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't really have a prepared script. Ben doesn't. We're here to really answer questions that you have. I do have things that I can say about why we do the SCM Globe simulation and what my expectations are for team performance and so on like that, that includes the simulation. But, I think it's more productive. How's it going for you? Have you been able to start the simulation and log in and any issues like that?
Hi, Professor. I had a hard time to log in because I didn't realize I have to use my personal email for that and not a school email. But I ran a couple simulations, play around. Didn't have enough time. I'm honestly just come out of 48 hours trip from deployment, so I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything at the school what I have to offer.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's You may as well get your money's worth, as they say, for tuition. Well, let me just so you let me mention something. Some people are confused when they say 30 days, trying to get 30 days. That's simulation days. When you're running the simulation, it's going to run very quickly. 30 simulation days, when it does run to 30 or somewhat a few more days than that, is probably going to take less than 2 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
no, yeah.
yeah, okay, so you're square on that. Okay, well that's good because
Yes,
I've
sir.
had I've had people get confused about how we do that. I mean, that's like week 6, what do we do, with that in mind, the other thing that I'll mention, and I think I posted this in a little discussion, that ordinarily you can expect that after about day 5 of the simulation, it's going to stop for a reason. And then it says it actually comes up with a little flag that says it stopped because it ran out of storage space at some location. So, what I've usually told people, the whole purpose of Project One is to just go ahead and you're learning the features of the simulation you learn by doing, and to throw money at the problem, not what you want to really do in business, but just go ahead and add storage capacity so that it runs again, or add trips for delivery if you're running out of stock, or whatever the case may be. Don't be concerned at this point with trying to find the most economical model, because that's really the basis for what you do. You start making improvements in project 2, but really in project 3, it's really taking what you've learned with the experience of a few weeks of using the simulation to really then go in and try to figure out, for example, what the economic order quantity is, how you adjust the inventory, and how you keep everything in balance. And at that point, uh, you're going to find that for week 1, and when you confer with your team about the results that you have versus what they have, everybody's going to have a big loss. Some losses are going to be bigger than others, but that's not the basis for any grading. The whole point is learning how to use the system. You'll probably find that in project 2, there still may be a loss, but it ought to be less. It may actually turn out that you break a profit because by adding 2 additional retail stores, as you'll find out in a couple of weeks, uh, you add 2 new retail locations, adding that additional demand uh, helps spread the overhead costs that you have, so that you end up getting a lot more profitable. That's the whole basis for most companies. If you're expanding and growing, it's easier to become profitable. You can get into a death spiral if you're losing money and you start cutting costs and cutting retail locations and still trying to get out of what I would call the Sears Roebuck syndrome, where you just keep on closing stores until there's no more to close. And then obviously you're not going to lose any more money, but that's not a very efficient business model. So anyway, given all of that, um, uh, you're going to find. I just want to set expectations. You probably can make about 5 or 6 changes and finally get to 30 days. And the time it takes to do the simulation where you do the run, you edit it, do another simulation run, and so on like that, play around with it, look at the online user guide. By the time you add all that together, it's about probably 4 to 5 hours. It should be about 4 to 5 hours of study time. And whether you do it all at once or you take a break, sometimes a mental break will help you think through things and not just keep on plowing that field until you've turned over the last stone. So, spread it out. There's no urgency. Now, we are, as of today, beginning week 2. So you're going to need to meet with the team members, and I'd have to look at my handy dandy sheet to find out who the other 2 people are. I hope you've been in contact with them or they've been in contact with you, because it is a collaborative assignment where you all do the assignment, and what you should be doing is finding the simulation among the 3 people that are on your team who had the best simulation, and then going forward with that one as a basis for writing up the project one report. The other thing that I'll mention is integral to that project one report. There's in the online user guide, there's it's a 3-store Excel spreadsheet template, and Ben can show you where that is in just a little while, so that you're prepared for that. But it's one thing to run the simulation and get it to run 30 days. It's another thing to know whether or not you really did a good job, or how effective a job it was. That's what the profit and loss template gives you, that information. It's a cornerstone of the project report, because in there it'll show your metrics. You can use some of those metrics if you decide you want to go even further and start creating graphs that you include in the report. It's all there, because it's in an Excel format. But the main thing that management, as well as your professor, is looking at is the net profit percentage, or gross profit percentage, and whether it's negative or positive. And not so much whether you're losing money or making money, but as you move from project 1 to project 2, or project 2 to project 3, there should be improvements showing that somehow the team is working together and they're collaborating to create a better network over time. That is the real learning experience that comes out of this particular simulation. And of course, then you've got all the other course materials that you can look at and the discussion threads. A lot of the content that's in the discussion threads can be used in the project reports, whether it's yours or somebody else's, as long as you attribute it. That's all fair game. And a lot of times, if you watch the discussion threads, people are talking about things they tried and didn't work well or did work great. You can get some ideas how to apply that to your own simulation. So it's a little bit of a backdrop. Uh, so you've gotten to about how many days? You said you've run it maybe a couple times.
Mhm.
About how many days have you gotten so far towards the 30-day goal?
Well, I hit 35, so I did. But and I think I was just I hit 35 days.
5 days?
No, 35.
Oh, you've reached 35. Oh,
Yeah,
you're home
but
free.
I had the I had two different simulations. I have like my draft simulation that I just want to do, just play around, and the second one is just like I'm doing step by step for report. So I think the first one, I kind of ran two different simulations on that, and I think the one was just like, let me just put some crazy numbers and everything and run it and see what happens. Worked out better. The one, and the second one was just for report, for the SWOT analysis and everything. So,
Okay, well, you're really ahead of the game in many different respects because, again, your team, excuse me, I've got a little bit of congestion. Your team should be working with you on that. The report is not necessarily your product; it's a collaborative project. And the expectation is one person out of the team will post it to the assignment folder, and then I will review it and provide my comments against the rubrics that I do the evaluation with. And then that person has to feed it back to everybody else because not everybody else can see it because they didn't upload that to the assignment folder. But uh, and sometimes my comments will also say that's what you did is fine for this project. For the next project, consider doing something else or doing this in addition. So the SWOT analysis, but have you thought about or have you looked at importing your data into a profit and loss template?
yeah, that's what I actually did not do yet. So,
All right.
I was
You
just
want
honestly playing around to see where can I get through some things. That's why my second simulation was more like, let's record what actually happens. Like,
okay. Let's Ben, let's do a different twist from what we usually do.
Mhm.
Uh, if you can show her how to create a JSON file from one or
Mhm.
the other of her simulations, and then you walk through importing that into your computer, and then you trim it to 30 days, and then show what's in the profit and loss template, and then you'll know what to do, how to do it yourself. But what Ben will do, are you able to open in the background your simulation?
right now,
Yeah, right now.
uh, maybe. Oh, let me see.
In fact, actually, I don't know. Maybe we could let her share her screen. I don't know. But
Oh,
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
I'm not really sure how to do this. I'm on my work computer, so I just logged into this.
okay, so your
Um,
simulation is on another computer,
on my personal computer, yes.
and your personal computer is not handy.
Well, it's not on.
It's not on. Okay,
I'm so sorry. I was not prepared. So
no, no,
sorry.
no. I mean, we were going to do something that's a little different than what we've ever done before. This is all in the model of engagement, student
Okay.
engagement. But so I'll tell you what, let Ben take over. He's going to show you how to create a JSON file
Okay.
and explain what it is, and then show you how to take that file and then also create a save state where you're importing the data and exporting the data into it's a CSV file that can be imported into Excel. So take it away, Ben.
All right, you should be able to see my screen now.
Can you
Hmm.
see it, Elena?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, wait, what's going on here? My computer has timing. Um, So saving a JSON file, what we're essentially doing when we save a JSON file, what Frank means by that is that we make, first of all, a save of the model we've been working on to our account. And then if we want to, we can also download it or send to people or receive from people. It's very simple to do. If you look at my one of my models called days 26, let's just save that. So I'll click on save next to it.
Mhm.
And name one. Let's call it saving state. Click on save. And then if I scroll to the bottom, you'll see saving state in my save state table. And then if I want to download it, all I have to do is click on download, and it would download it as a JSON file. And as far as you're concerned, these JSON files, they only work on SCM Globe, so don't try to open it then. If you download it, you can easily email it to like a teammate or receive it from a teammate. And all you would have to do is just drag it back to the save states like this. And there you go. You can see the second saving state that I have. And then we can just restore it. And there we go. We have saving state. So I just saved this, this model, downloaded it, re-uploaded it to my save states and restored it. So it's very, very easy to do. And it's a very small file here. Any questions?
No, but do we supposed to save every single time we
No.
try the simulation?
Well,
No,
I'm sorry, Ben. Let's talk about
Frank,
that.
do you want to take it?
I'll take that one. So if the simulation is not, there seems to be a lot of lag all of a sudden. I'm not sure what's causing that.
Mhm.
And there's also backtalk. I'm not sure what's causing that. I'll tell you what, can you mute yourself for a moment, Alina? Okay. No more backtalk. Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. But anyway, and you can come off of mute when we, get back into a discussion. The simulation is not backwards compatible. Not backwards compatible. You can't back up. If you've gone down a path, let's say you get to a fork in the road where you suddenly decide you want to reconfigure your transportation network and you want to eliminate a route and you want to establish a new one and put in a different truck, and you go ahead and do that, and suddenly it doesn't work out. Well, there's no way to back up unless you've at that fork of the road, before you started doing that, you created a save state. So you can, anytime that you're going to make a major change that you may want to back up from, if it doesn't work out, you can do that. Now, the other thing is, when you get to the end of a simulation, you ought to save the final version of that simulation, because whatever you finish with project one, that becomes the starting point for project two. Whatever you finish with project two becomes the starting point for project three. So you do want to, when you go through the simulations, to save the last version. But yeah, you don't, and not every time you need to make a change do you need to save it. No, that's not necessary. But like I say, if you're about to make a critical change that you think, well, let's try this and maybe it'll work and maybe it won't. Well, it didn't work and you want to go back, that's your fallback position. The JSON file is helpful because you can send that to your teammates, or they can send it to you. And when you load it into your system or they load it into theirs, they click on it. It's just going to run exactly like it did on your computer. That's why I was thinking, had that wild thought there about 5 minutes ago, that if you could send it to us, we could actually use your simulation, show you what it looks like, import that data into the template for the profit and loss, And not only would you see how to do that, you'd be seeing the results of your own simulation rather than what Ben has done. So, but what I'm going to do is now I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let Ben talk again and go through the profit and loss template. But before I do you have any questions, Alina, based on what we've just what I've just did a monologue on?
I think I misunderstood the savings situation. So I had like two different simulations when I was running the draft things, when I do just whatever I want. And then my second simulation was kind of like, oh, it worked. So that goes to report. So it's kind of like silly way to work
I
around
think,
this.
Frank, I think I understand. I don't know about, in order to save it to your teammates, yes, you do need to save it. But in order to just work on it, it saves every time you click on update.
Well,
So
that's
the
what I
reason you
thought.
would want, yeah, but the reason you might want to click on save, the reason you might want to save, is it, once you click on update, it saves, right? But let's say you clicked on update, you made 3 changes, right, at a time. And then after you finished your third change and you clicked on update, you realize that those 3 changes are a mistake and you don't remember what you've done. This is why you might want to occasionally save, just so you have a fallback point in case you made a big mistake and you want to go back.
And that's why I was doing two different things. If it didn't work, I'm like, oh, it didn't work. So let's see if that worked and just run. It's kind of like a draft and then the second one that is clean.
Two
Double
ways
work.
to get the same result. Yeah, 2 ways to get the same result. Well, you're working with with one simulation. You know, you can see how many simulations I have in here. So the save state really helps when you scale up.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm realizing I'm doing double work right now.
Maybe that's
No,
double
you're just saving. Yes.
Exactly.
Well, if you could then show the profit and loss template, Ben, I think that'd be
Yes.
the learning target right now.
Got it. So once you have ran the simulation for 30 days or more, as you can see, I have a model here, an instance here in which I ran to 31 days. So Alina, you beat me. I can download the results and I can put them in a pre-created template and see what my metrics are. So
yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
yes, so in order to download the results, all I have to do is click on Export Results to Excel. And it'll download an Excel file. It looks like this. I'll open it. It's just being a little bit slow. So
I
while
did that as well. I think I
yes,
might
there
be
you go.
Yeah, I did that.
So wait, so did you create the P&L report?
I did an Excel thing. I'm not sure if we're
You
talking about
go,
the same thing.
so let me show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
When I click on the help button, it'll take me to the online guide. And on the right side of my screen, on the online guide, I'm going to be looking for analyzing simulation data under the title of supply chain modeling and simulation logic. So if I click, I'll highlight it right now so everyone can see. If I click on analyzing simulation data, it'll take me to this page that goes through different ways of analyzing the data that we can download from the simulation. If I download to the bottom, I'll find under reporting templates available for download, the 3-store P&L reporting template, the first one, number 1. This is for when you're working with 3 stores. My understanding is that at some point you have to add 2 new stores, and at which point you're going to be working with the 5-store P&L reporting template. Let's just work with the 3-store P&L reporting templates because, as you can see on my On my model, I only have the 3 stores at this point. And go back a little bit. I have the store in Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and Louisville. 3 stores. So let's open the reporting template. It's just going to open a Google Sheet. Let's download the Google Sheet. Remember, you have to download it. You can't edit this here. And while it's opening, let me go through the Excel sheet that I downloaded from my simulation. So this is my data from my simulation that I downloaded by clicking on export results to Excel. And you might notice that it's not very useful. It's a lot of just raw data that doesn't really help. And the additional issue with it is that it's running for 31 days. And we're actually only analyzing up to 30 days. This is our cycle. So you're going to have to trim any day past day 30. So I only have day 31, and I have to delete the entire row here. So we have to do this for each table here. It's only 6 tables, but we have to delete this extra row. So our data is clean, and we can just copy and paste it and just see what comes up. So downloading each of the rows past day 30. And now I'm ready on my raw data. So now let's look at the reporting template that I downloaded. This is the reporting template. This is what I downloaded from the Google Sheet that I just opened before. This is just a template full of formulas that we already put in there. All we have to do is just replace the sample data. So in this case, you'll see at the bottom that I have 2 tabs, P&L report and KPIs, and I have simulation data. If I click on simulation data, we'll have all this data here. I can just Control A and delete everything in here and just copy my data and put it instead. And then if I go back to P&L report, this is my results from my data. All I had to do is just copy and paste it there, and the formulas already work on their own. And I'm not doing very well. So you can see my gross profit, gross loss, really. My gross loss as a percentage point. We can see where my expenses are, which stores take the most amount of money. For example, in this case, I'm spending a lot of money on Louisville store. Maybe I can cut costs on that. Maybe a little on transportation as well. So you can, in order to reach profitability, you can continuously replace your data in the simulation sheet until you get to maybe at least 0 if you want to break even, but a positive number would be nice.
Was I confused? When you run the simulation, is that all the same numbers, right? You get all that data from how much profit by day. Okay,
correct.
Because that's what I was drawing all my numbers from. But it's the same numbers, right? By date, you can chart them anytime, any day you want. This is all. It's basically the same. It's just not an Excel spreadsheet.
But this is after you.
Okay. Because I was just like
but the Excel spreadsheet tells you if you're making a profit. The simulation doesn't tell you if you're making a profit or a loss.
Okay.
Which numbers? Are you talking about this?
Yeah, on the simulation, all the numbers, it shows you everything. You can separate any variations of the data you want by date. Is that exactly, it's the same dates or information, or I'm getting a little confused here because if you are ending up, well, when you run in the problem on, let's say, day 29, you just go into day 29 and you see all the information you need. Profits, losses, anything, problems in any facility, right? Like, is
it doesn't show you profit.
Okay.
It wouldn't show your profit.
Okay.
So it'll show you expenses. These numbers on the side here that you're seeing, is this what you're talking about?
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Yeah, exactly what I'm talking about. That's the numbers I was looking at, and I'm like,
These numbers are expenses. This is how much your each facility here expended over the amount of time that he ran. So for over 31 days, the Seasonings DC spent we spent this much money on it. And the reason it doesn't show you profit is because we didn't assign it profit. If you look at the P&L reporting template, you'll notice that on row 7, we have this 30 number here. And this is essentially, this is the profit margin that we decided on. So it can't show you, it cannot show you profit in the simulation. It can only show you expenses.
Okay. So I will need this. Okay, I got you. All right, thank you. Because I don't think I was doing anything correctly now. I'm realizing.
No, actually,
well, you'll know after you're.
You're most of the way there. And by the way, we have Ishmael has joined us too. We're in midway in a discussion about the profit and loss template, Ishmael.
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's okay. That's welcome to the party. I hope you brought your refreshing beverage with you. It's hot outside. Anyway, so to the point though, there's an expectation that each student will run the simulation, but then import their data into the profit and loss template, as Ben has just demonstrated. And then that is really the conversation point among the team members, because you can decide who had the lowest loss. If somebody had a negative gross profit of 400%, somebody else had negative 200%, and then somebody got it down to negative 29%. Well, that negative 29% is the best solution among the three. And that would be the one that the team would probably coalesce around for preparing the project one report, and then working on the strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities, which is the SWOT report. So, do you have any further questions about now? You're really most of the way there. If you just take your data and follow these steps, and it's in the online user guide. In fact, there's actually a short tutorial video that explains what Ben has just done. You can, it will walk you through importing the data. Or maybe one of the other team members is really good at Excel, and maybe they can work with you on it if you've got some questions, or you can ask me, and we'll get you there. I want to pause for a minute and just ask Ishmael, have you been able to run the simulation so far?
Not just yet.
Not just yet. Okay, that's fine. Have you been able to log into the SCM Globe software successfully?
Yes, I have been able to log in.
Okay, all right. I don't know how, I guess if you haven't run it yet, you just open up the Cincinnati Seasonings. One of the interesting things about the simulation for everybody that's attending here, Ben already knows this, of course, and is that as soon as you make the first change, each simulation in the class is going to be different. No two simulations are going to be the same. And if it turned out that they were identical, that's a very unusual situation. It could, by random chance, occur, but when you look at the 97th percentile or something beyond that, very unlikely. That would be an indication that maybe somebody got the data and just maybe gave somebody else a clue for, you change this number here and then you change that number there. It's not really, I'm not so concerned about cheating per se, if that's considered to be cheating, but it's diminishing your learning, because you only learn by doing, and by working through the simulation and figuring out where you need to add or subtract capacity, where you need to adjust product supply, where you need to adjust the transportation routes. That's the whole goal of this ACM 640. If you don't do anything else, if you get a better appreciation for that, even if you feel like, man, I can't do it at all, or woman, I can't do it at all. It's just that's where the learning really occurs. I guess Ishmael, if there's do you think you need any guidance in terms of how to open a simulation and start it running and have it what you do when it stops the first time or anything like that?
No, I plan on looking at some of the tutorials to kind of walk me through it. So
And there's some very good
hopefully.
videos, short videos in there. Ben
Hmm.
can also show you where those videos are if you haven't already found them. They're very targeted, and talk about how to add a store, how to change a route for transportation, how to
Hmm.
change the trip frequency, and so on like that. So,
Right.
all right. Well, then we'll plow along. So we've talked about for this is a cornerstone. If you don't know what the net profit is, any management that you're working for, the first thing they're going to ask, are we making a profit or not? And if you can't answer that question, no matter what you have in your project report, it's not going to be very convincing. So, it's where you see what the profit or loss is. And then where, as Ben was pointing out, some of the stores look like they are very expensive to operate, others are not. That can also be the basis of your strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities, and trying to come up with the what you need to do for improvements for the future to try to gain profitability for your model simulation. Um, so, is there any other questions from Ishmael or Alina?
No, not from me at this time.
Okay.
I do have a question. So I ran a lot of different scenarios, like the don't work, don't work, don't work, this work, don't work, don't work, this work. So are they all recording towards like our grade? Because that's I literally did two different things. I'm recording what works and what doesn't works. Doesn't matter? Is it matter? I mean, am I allowed to share it with my teammates? Because I'm literally saying those steps worked.
Okay. Since that's an evaluation and a grading issue, I'll cover that since that's Ben doesn't know what's going on under the hood for ACM 640.
Because like I
Uh,
changed this and it worked and it took me to that step.
okay, right. Well, so you did that in succession to get to, I think you said you got to 35 days.
35. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. So that's success.
Mm-hmm.
You've met the project one objective. Now, this is a team project. I'm not looking at yours specifically. I'm looking at what the team prepares as a project report. All three members, if it's a three-member team, most of them
Mm-hmm.
are, uh, the all three team members are going to get the same grade. They're going to get the same evaluation. Uh, you think about it in a workplace, you're appointed to a team. The team comes up with the recommendations for management. They're not necessarily going to say that Jack and Jim and Susie and Sally, you individually did this. It's a collaborative effort. You either sink or you swim together. And so that's the sort of the philosophy. Um, that's one of the reasons why we've set this up as projects 1, 2, 3, and 4, with project 4 being a lot different and it doesn't require the simulation. But it's to simulate an environment that if you were in your career and working with a supply chain assignment, that you would have the opportunity to learn how you craft a memorandum, how you craft a report, the kinds of things that are important to be in that kind of a report, in addition to having done the legwork of running the simulation to see is it's going to work or not. So, my advice is from the simulation standpoint, if you're spending more than about 4 or 5 hours doing the simulation to get to at least 30 days, take a step back and let's talk, because this is not the full employment act for your life, is trying to get that simulation to work, or to try to do 3 different simulations and compare simulation 1 that you did with simulation 2 or simulation 3. That's not going to get graded. And that will definitely improve your understanding of supply chains. I like that kind of performance. But at the same time, this is a balancing act. You got your life, you got a job, you got some sleep time, somewhere along the way you're going to eat.
Well, there's
And
also
I'm
a
just trying to
thing,
keep things in balance.
like also in the lecture said, there is some things we don't adjust. And of course, in a simulation, it's open, we can adjust, right? Like things like you can a little play with the demand and stuff, which is not real life thing. And that's how you get the simulation to run
I get it.
higher numbers. So I
I'm
was just
glad.
saying that's why I have a draft simulation there. I was just playing with the numbers.
Right. Okay, that's good. Well, you're learning the dynamics, and that's good. I'm pleased to hear that. Now, you use that magic word demand.
Yeah.
Demand is an independent variable. You can't make somebody walk into a store and buy a particular product of a particular quantity. That's independent. Now you can try to influence it through marketing and advertising, and that's all great. Or promotions, or buy one get one free kind of things, like they do for the fireworks.
Mhm.
But you cannot. Demand is there, and yes, in the simulation, if you wanted to think about gaming the simulation,
Mhm.
you could change the demand so that's you no longer have that constraint of running out of stock at the store, because now you cut demand, and that's not the path to profitability, though. That defies business logic. So demand is off the table.
Mhm.
That is an independent variable. Um, Theoretically, you could change it. I don't know, Ben. That's one of the things I think you got in your little toolkit that you're thinking for the professors, but it may be something that you actually want to lock that as a variable, if it isn't already locked. But at the same time, it's probably, if you really are curious about what happens if demand declines by 10% or increases by 10%, that may be an interesting dynamic to look at, but that's not going to be the way that you really balance your network.
Okay.
So, and when you do, this is talking ahead for weeks 3 and 4, when you do add 2 additional stores, those stores have a default demand that populates. You don't get a chance to set that demand. Okay. Just like the 3 stores that you're working with now have a set demand. So, that's one of those push button issues that don't mess with demand, because you can't. If you could, you'd be the richest person in the world, or you'd be a monopoly. You'd be one of the two, and the Sherman Antitrust Act would be chasing after you.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Ben, the only other thing that I think in the remaining 15 minutes, and maybe we'll give them back some time, is just to go through the known bugs and
Mhm.
any issues like that. If anybody has any issues running the simulation, you don't necessarily need to contact SCM Globe directly. First of all, number one, you confer with your teammates. Number two, you post a question and answer in the question and answer session discussion area of ACM 640, and I will answer it, or maybe some of the other students will chime in. Number three, you can take it offline and send me an email and say, I've got this terrible problem. And then if I conclude that it's beyond my ability, then I'll refer it to Ben or somebody else and ask for their guidance on that specific problem. But there are some known bugs, and I think just mentioning that, so that people are aware of those. It's all this is in the online user guide, and the online user guide is very well crafted. It really is your own. It's almost as good as a textbook for supply chain management in terms of covering the basic principles and how things aligned. And with the added plus that you actually can use the online user guide in the course of a simulation to actually see the results of what the online user guide is depicting. So Ben, it's back to you.
Right. So to access the user guide, all you have to do is click on help. It'll open the online guide. And pretty much anything that you need to know about SCM Globe is up there, including information about supply chain and logistics in general. You can click on getting started to get to all the videos. If you haven't logged in yet or anything like that, you'll find all of the videos about each part of working with SCM Globe in here. Under getting started, where you can see the steps. As for the FAQs, there are several questions that we get consistently from students. And so we chose 7 of them, the most common, and we put it on our website in the FAQs, just so if you have a question, very likely someone asked it before. So this would be here. In addition to that, we have some bugs that we know about. They don't happen frequently. They don't happen often, but they might happen. They're rare, but they occur. And until we find solutions to these bugs, we found workarounds in case they happen to you. And if you're having a bug, please go to the FAQs first and check out the 3 bugs that we know about. And maybe you can work with one of the workarounds that we have in here. The likelihood that you would encounter these bugs is very low. But if you do have a bug and you're not sure what's going on, this should be your first step.
Okay. What I also want to point out is there's this concept called the butterfly effect, which I'll explain. And if I don't get it quite right, Ben can add to it. Let's say you have a truck route and you've structured your demand or your supply to a store so carefully so that what's being sold in the store on a given day is what's coming in off that truck off that day, basically a just-in-time delivery. The butterfly effect is that every so often a truck is going to turn over on Interstate 495, or it's going to get stuck in a traffic jam, or it's the driver got sick and couldn't complete the run, or every so often these things happen in real life in real transportation networks. And so you may end up having a missed delivery, even though you've set up a delivery schedule where a truck leaves let's say every 20 hours or every 8 hours or every 12 hours and arrives at the destination facility to unload with a particular quantity of product. Every so often that truck's not going to run. It's a random variable or a random event. And so you're probably going to, when you look at inventory, you're also going to need to be thinking about what's called safety stock. Safety stock is basically 1 day of supply that you keep on hand as a contingency just in case something happens and you can't get that delivery that day. You dip into the safety stock. Sort of like what we should all be doing for retirement savings, that you got some money laid aside for the rainy day. And somewhere along the way, that rainy day is going to come and you're going to need to spend some money. So there is a section in here, if you point that out there, Ben, about the butterfly effect. It goes into a much better and clearer explanation than what I've just given.
Yeah, this is the page for the butterfly effect where I'm at right now. And Frank, all I'd say as it pertains to SCM Globe, there is another instance of the butterfly effect from SCM Globe, from which if a student makes a small change, it might have pretty severe ramifications, even if it doesn't look like that. So as opposed to a randomized event like a missed shipment, this would be a choice that the student makes and not knowing that they might make big changes for better or worse in their model.
Okay.
So that's all I wanted to add on that.
I think I can give an example or at least come close to it because,
Mhm.
when you find in business and in supply chain management, things are not completely linear or curvilinear. It's not smooth. You tend to have, if you graph out quantities, for example, that you put into a truck, it looks like building blocks. It's like a stepwise quantity. You have a certain step, and then you go one product unit above that, and you're in the next step. You may not, it may look like it's only a small change, but you've increased, you've now exceeded, let's say, the capacity of a small truck. You are forced to go to a larger truck because of that one additional product, and maybe you didn't realize that. So that I could see where that comes into play, and that's a fact of a lot of things. Very few things in business are very smooth and continuous. It's there's a lot of jerkiness, and there's especially with cost factors. You if you graph them, they look like steps on going up the stairs to the second floor of your house. And sometimes they're not even steps either. Okay. Ishmael, do you have any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay.
Don't.
Alina, anything else?
You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Alina. But you got a nice smile. You're still talking, but you're muted. I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
There
So
you go.
I look while we were talking about, I did get the simulation, and I'm like, I need to run it, so I ran it, and I lied. I did to day 30, not 35. I ran it one more time, and I think my goal was 35 to get to this. But I'm looking at all these numbers now and realizing that I've been reading them wrong. So I thought they were profits, and now I see what they are, outputs. Basically, that's what they are.
Okay.
So
Well, and
I'm
go ahead.
I was trying to figure out what numbers I'm reading because I'm clearly was reading them incorrectly. So tomorrow getting to the day 35, I guess.
I'm glad that you logged in. Don't try to go to day 35. If you reach day 30, you're there. You don't need to do overkill, you know. So stick with 30 days. I had one student one time, he was bragging that I made it to 56 days, The reason why,
Oh my.
well, but the thing is, that's not efficient use of time. Because in business, the reason why we're using 30 days, 30 days is roughly a month, 12 months in a year. There's a lot of seasonality, for example, in supply chains. If you're dealing with Christmas wrap or wrapping paper and boxes and those kinds of gifts that might be given in a holiday season near December, you can expect that there's heavier demand for those in October, November, but especially in December. And then there's the months like January, February, where you have all the sales and the demand diminishes. So it's not even every month. If you just do the simulation on a month-to-month basis, that's basically what's going to happen in business, is that on a 30-day basis, maybe a rolling 30-day basis, you're going to be monitoring a supply chain and making sure that the product is flowing, because demand may be increasing, it may drop. There may be other factors that come into play. Seasonality for the trucks, it's summertime, trucks get into collisions, in the winter they get stuck in the snow, and so all these kinds of things cause a lot of uncertainty and changes that you have to do really pretty much on a monthly basis in business. And again, the whole focus of ACM 640 is to try to give you a very simplified but a very close to business simulation, so that you're learning from that, so that in your career, even in your personal life, you'll have a better appreciation for some of these dynamics of supply chains. So that, if there's no other questions,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am going to give you back a whole 2 minutes on your evening, and appreciate you all calling in. I've recorded this. I'm going to post, the link for anybody that didn't attend, or if you want to be able to read, it'll be in ACM 640 in the discussion area someplace. I'll put a link to this so that you can watch everything that we did tonight. And for the students that weren't able to attend, they'll have an opportunity to listen to some of the questions and answers. So with that, I'm going to wish you a good night, and I'm going to turn off the recording. And then if Alina and Ishmael can drop off, Ben and I are going to have a discussion about the future.